Lagos, Nigeria. Uber driver's late-night Gory experience. I have been driving a Bolt car in Lagos for 6 years, but what I saw on 3rd Mainland Bridge last night has made me return my keys to the owner. If I will ever drive in the city again, it must never be in the night. It was 11:45 p.m. I was about to close the app and drive home when a request came in. Pick up, Victoria Island. Drop off, Ikaradu. The fare was 18,000 naira. That $10 and few cents. I was broke, and my wife needed money for antenatal the next day. So I happily and greedily accepted the request. The passenger was a young lady, extremely beautiful, dressed in a white flowing gown. She wore a perfume so good to ignore. She didn't say a word when she entered the back seat. She only nodded, and the journey took off. The roads were free. I was playing a popular Afro-bear tune from Davido the Stereo, feeling lucky. Few moments after joining the 3rd Mainland Bridge, the atmosphere in the car began to alter. The air conditioner cut off, but the car became freezing cold in less than 5 minutes. My windows started fogging up from the inside. That's a bit abnormal from all ramifications, and it was pitch dark on the outside, but the sparsely moving automobiles provided a fair illumination. I lifted my head a bit, took a look at the rearview mirror to ask if she was okay. She wasn't looking at her phone. She was staring directly at the back of my head. Her eyes were wide open, unblinking. I had an instant cold shivers. "Driver," she whispered. Her voice sounded like it was coming from the car speakers, not her mouth. "Stop here, I want to buy some snacks." It was bizarre as there was no kiosk or retailers on the long bridge. "Madam," I summoned some energy to say, "but this is 3rd Mainland Bridge. Nobody sells gala here by 12 midnight. It is dangerous to stop." She snapped with a more eerie yet louder voice. "Stop." The scream didn't sound human. It shook the steering wheel. The car engine cut off instantly on its own. I am dead in the middle of the bridge. My mind suggested to me. I was shaking. "Madam, please take it easy." She opened the door and stepped out. There was no wind, though we were high above the water. She walked to the railing of the bridge. I watched her, paralyzed with fear. I wanted to start the car and zoom off, but my hands refused to move. Suffice to say, I was transfixed. Then, the non-human figures emerged. From beneath the bridge, wet, dark figures started climbing over the railing. 1, 2, 3, 7 of them. They looked like people who had drowned years ago. They were all swollen, dripping with black water. Their skin looked pale and it was peeling. Standing by the hay bowed to her. She turned to look at me one last time. Her face had changed. She no longer had a nose or a mouth, just a smooth patch of skin where the twin features used to be. "You are lucky you have a PR letter 1EBD wife at home." The voice echoed in the air, pushed by the midnight wind, though she had no mouth to speak, but her undescribable face was fixated on, looking at me like someone who received pardon. Another voice spoke. "Her prayer is your only coverage." With a look of a failed adventure, she climbed onto the railing and jumped into the lagoon. The 7 drowned figures followed her too. A kind of different silence was announced as their presence left the scene. My car engine roared back to life on its own. The doors locked automatically. I drove like a madman. I didn't stop until I reached a filling station adjacent to Anthony Bridge. Goosebumps was all over me, sweating, shiver, NG, just perplexed. I grabbed my phone to end the trip and report the NC dent, but when I opened the app, the trip history was empty. No record of the pickup, no record of the passenger, except for one thing. On the back seat where she sat, there was no money, but there was a single, wet 1,000 naira note. It was dripping with salt water, and written on the note in red ink was a date. 12/12/2025. That is the exact due date the doctor gave my wife for our baby. Will she come for my baby? Drop a comment, subscribe, and check out the next story.